Hi everybody, Andrew Cuneo here. I've been having a lot of fun with the Tinkerer's Cube on Arena, so I figured I'd make a video doing a run through. There's lots of cool decks you can draft in this. I've liked white-red equipment. I've enjoyed kind of blue-green proliferate decks, red-blue spells decks. There's lots of stuff you can do. Red-black sack is also a pretty good deck. What does this pack have that is appealing? It does have, so one of the weird things about this cube is there's a bunch of cards that are just like really power level outliers in the cube. And Dragon's Rage Channeler, I think, is certainly one of them. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me that there's a cube that has this in it and also has Bag of Holding. I'm going to go ahead and take the Dragon's Rage Channeler. The Pyromancer probably looks kind of appealing. My experience has been it's pretty hard to get a lot of card drawing in your deck in this cube. So I think that one's probably a little bit worse than it looks. Alright, what do we got now? So I think Briarbridge Tracker is reasonably strong. I like Pelt Collector just because I think one of the issues with getting a good deck in this cube is just making sure you get enough things that cost 1 and 2 mana, and Pelt Collector is a pretty strong 1-drop. But because I started with a red card, and it's a red card that wants you to have non-creature spells, I'm just going to take a Braid. I think a Braid's a reasonably strong removal spell in this cube. Alright. So here I've got an interesting choice. Well, I guess there may be other cards people would want to consider, but to me it's between Bloodthirsty Adversary and Welding Sparks. So Welding Sparks is another reasonable removal spell that also triggers my Dragon's Rage Channeler, whereas the Bloodthirsty Adversary is, a reasonable 2-drop, but also later on in the game I'm going to be able to, get some value from it. Assuming I have enough instants and sorceries in my deck, which the Dragon's Rage Channeler also wants. So the real question is, do I pick this or do I pick the instant/sorcery? I think I'm just going to pick the Bloodthirsty Adversary. And we'll hope to prioritize instants and sorceries more as the draft goes on. Ooh, alright. So we've got, this is kind of a fun choice. We could take Double Vision, which again is going to make you really want lots of instants and sorceries. Or I could take Scholar of the Lost Trove, which is a very strong card. It's another one of the kind of bizarrely strong cards in this cube. It's really hard to see why does it make sense to have this in the same cube as this? Or as this? Let's go for some fun. Take Double Vision. This is the white Thriving Land, so it's not the red one. If it was the red one, it would be more appealing. Alright, so we've got this thing, which is discard a card, then draw 2 cards, which is, you don't discard as a cost, is what I've learned. So if you're empty-handed, you can just play this to draw 2 cards. Also, you have the option of playing this, deal 3 damage to each creature without flying, which I guess my Dragon's Rage Channeler could get flying. I think I'm going to pick this. I think Fast and Furious, that's going to describe my playstyle in this draft. Also, for the purposes of Delirium, I believe this counts as an instant and a sorcery in your graveyard. Oh. Do I need to go for the Tumble Strum? This is the best way to give my opponents a Tumble Strumming they won't soon forget. There are some amount of Venture cards in this cube, but there are no red Venture cards in all of Magic, I believe. Maybe that's not true. I don't know. There aren't any red Venture cards in the cube as far as I know. It's like this, or I could take the Simulacrum. I think I'm just going to take the Simulacrum. It's an artifact for Delirium. Just generally a good card. Okay, here we got a choice between, I would say, Igneous Inspiration and Fire Prophecy. This can deal damage to opponents. This allows you to do. It's not exactly looting. It's worse than looting, but it is at some upside. I think I'm just going to go with the Igneous Inspiration, though. Notably, all of the lessons you learn are instants or sorceries, so that is nice because for my deck that wants to have a lot of instants and sorceries to cast. Here's another learn card. This is a pretty weak one, but it is still a learn card. What's this thing do? Not the best. I'm just going to take the Enthusiastic Study. Alright. Like I said before, the Pyromancer can be a little bit hard to work, or to get to work. But I might be able to do it. Just take a dual land here. I don't know what my second color is going to be, but blue seems like it could be reasonable. Wow, Welding Sparks or a red-blue land. I guess I'm taking Welding Sparks because I don't know for sure I'm going to be blue. This is a pretty bad removal spell. This is an okay white card. I guess I'll take this. Just because it's the best card. I don't know that it's the best card. Or it's going to be a good card in my deck, but it's the best card in a vacuum. I've been reasonably impressed by this Breya's Apprentice card. Just, you know, getting 3 power across 2 bodies, one of which flies on a 3-drop, and you have some ability to, you know, do things with your cards as the game progresses. There's also a lesson, which I picked up 2 learn cards, and I don't have any lessons yet, so I do want to get a learn card. I think I'm just going to go with Breya's Apprentice, though. One thing with the Pyromancer, you can just loot off of the learn, which would trigger the Pyromancer, assuming you're doing it on your turn. Which is Inspiration's a sorcery, so you would be. Or I would be. Yeah, this is just a good red card. I'll just take the red card. Alright, Wandering Emperor is another one of the power level outliers in this cube, I would say. But it is double white. I have no fixing. I have 1 white card. I could just take Mascot Exhibition, which is, if you played Strixhaven, you know, this was the best lesson to be able to get, and I don't know if it's strictly the best lesson to get in this cube, but it is a very good one. And I have 2 learn cards already, so that's pretty nice. I've been reasonably impressed with Gadrak in this cube. It's a little bit hard to make it able to attack, but it is a really strong blocker, and just turning your removal spells into cards that make treasures also is pretty nice, because it's pretty easy to find ways to spend the mana. Yeah. Sensia Uprising is another one that's a consideration. I think I like Gadrak better, though. Interesting. So this is a way to get to draw 2 cards. It's kind of mana intensive, and it just loots. It doesn't actually give card advantage. This thing's also a way to trigger extra draws for the Pyromancer, because you get the blood tokens. I think my choice, though, is going to be the Fabled Passage, because I haven't picked up any cards in the second color I want to play yet, but I think as the draft goes on, I eventually will. Also, this is going to be a land that goes to the graveyard for Delirium, which could matter. Alright, so here we have the green Thriving Land, a green-red land, which I think green is one of the least likely cards that I'm going to play any cards of. The only red card is pretty weak in a deck that's not really planning to sacrifice things. I could take Fractal Summoning, just have another lesson. It's going to be a hard-to-cast lesson, probably, but I do have the red-blue land, and maybe blue is my second color. Let's just do that. This really doesn't do anything for me. You have to have giant creatures, and I don't have very many creatures, and they're not very big. You can take Hall of Oracles. It's going to be some amount of mana fixing. Also, it's a good way to buff up my creatures, because I've got a fair amount of spells. Seems good. Okay. been fairly impressed by Clear Shot as a removal spell in this cube. I don't think it's what I need. I think I'm just going to take the Battlecry Goblin, which is an excellent 2-drop. Looks like my deck's trying to be a little bit aggressive. Teleportation Circle can be really good. This isn't really the deck for it. This card seems not that exciting. I could take Pop Quiz or the Elixir. I think I'll just take Pop Quiz. I think I'm going to play blue as my second color. Oh, wow. There's a Dowser, which is a pretty strong card. Or Start from Scratch, but I already have 2 good lessons. I think I might just want the Dowser. And I don't think this is a very good card to put in my deck. I'm just going to take Rip Apart. Maybe I'll wind up with a 3-color deck. Probably not, but maybe. Alright, here I will take the Stensia Uprising. I think it's just a generally strong card. Is there any reason to want Contentious Plan in my deck? And I would play with it, but I think that the Spikefield Hazard is just a good card. Silent Departure is probably pretty strong too. Sarkhan's Unsealing, not strong. So I've got 1, 2, 3 lands, meaning I have 19 spells that I'm mostly happy with. I guess I also have a Spikefield Hazard, so I have more like 18 spells I'm happy with. So probably I want to get 15... or I want to get 5 spells out of this pack. Magda's just a generally strong card. I have a decent amount of removal to push it through. So I think that's going to be the pick. Environmental Sciences would be a reasonable option. If Ominous Seas Wheels, I'll probably play with it. I think I'm just going to go with Environmental Sciences, actually, because I feel like I have enough spells that having access to the really good lesson is more important. All right. 5x0 is a pretty good spell. The only question really is, do I have... like, I'm kind of a tempo deck. I don't have a ton of creatures, though. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4... Gadrak and the Pyromancer can't really reliably damage my opponent. Would I like a Lantern Bearer? Not really. Would I like Shredded Sails? I don't mind playing with Shredded Sails, but it's certainly nothing to be excited about. Circuit Mender's not bad, but I think the pick is just the Thriving Isle. Now that I'm blue, this is effectively just a blue-red tap land. Alright, so we got a Rabbit Battery. That's somewhat appealing. There's also a Containment Construct, which I can do. I do a fair amount of looting. I've seized the spoils. I have Fast Furious. I can loot with my lessons if I want to. That might be better than Rabbit Battery, honestly. It's also an artifact, which my artifact count matters for Gadrak. It matters for a little bit for Welding Sparks. My experience with playing Volcanic Salvo is it will disappoint you. Therefore, I would prefer not to play it. There's Dragon Fodder, which the 1/1s don't really do much for me. There's also Prosperous Thief, which I don't think I would play. I don't think I'm going to play any of these cards. I guess I'll take the Prosperous Thief. If I wind up short on cards, I could play with it. I'm a big fan of this Nahiri, but it's not going to be good in this deck. The Deck of Many Things. This is a card I just like playing with. It's fun. There's this thing. I'll try this thing. I think this is the thing that's supposed to go in this deck, even though I kind of preferred the Deck of Many Things. I also like Wizard Spellbook a lot, but I think I have to take the Young Pyromancer. And here we've got, how many lands do I have? 5. So I want one more spell. The Merfolk Looter works both with the Ironcrag Pyromancer and the Containment Construct, so I'm going to pick that. And the Ominous Seas Wield. I would like to play with that one. Ooh, Goblin Wizardry. Goblin Wizardry is actually pretty good, too. I'm going to have to make some cuts, it looks like. I have not had particularly good experiences with playing with Relic Amulet in my deck in this cube. It looks like the kind of card that's supposed to be for this deck, but it's just a little bit on the weak side, I think. Alright, so Arena has put one more land in my deck than I think I'm going to play. So the question is, what cards do I want to cut? How many lessons did I get? I got Sciences, Summoning, Mascot Exhibition 3. How many learn cards do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have that many creatures in my deck, so I feel like Enthusiastic Study really isn't going to be helping me that much. I think it's fine to play 4 learn cards and have 3 lessons, but I don't think Enthusiastic Study is that good of a card, so I'm just not going to play with it. So I'm looking for one more cut. The only other goblins I have for the Battlecry Goblin are the Goblin Wizardry tokens. I like Ominous Seas as a card, and I also like the fact that it's an enchantment, which if it gets in the graveyard, it can power up the Channeler. Also, it has cycling, so it has a very low floor. And the fact that it has cycling means it can trigger the Pyromancer pretty easily. I think the cards I'm considering cutting at this point are Silent Departure, which I think is a fine card, but I have a fair amount of interaction in my deck anyway. I think I've got 1 removal spell, 1 bounce spell, 2 removal spells. This is functionally a removal spell. It's like repeated removal spell. Removal spell. I guess I don't have that much interaction. How many actual creatures do I have? I have 12 right now. So 12 actual creatures plus this makes creatures, this makes creatures. Ominous Seas, in theory, is going to make a creature. And I have a lot of card drawing, and my lessons can find things that make creatures. So I don't think I need this creature. Maybe I'll just do this. I'm sure this is a good card in my deck. I think so. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 instant/sorceries, but a lot of them draw me more instant/sorceries. Like all the learned cards give me additional lessons. Just another instant/sorcery. The looting effects obviously find me more instant/sorceries. This you cast twice. Yeah, this looks good. Oh, I also have Spikefield Hazard. Looks like a pretty strong hand. So I'm going to be able to play the Construct on 2. I'll probably play Brave's Apprentice on 3. And then I can fast away a land if the Construct's still in play and be able to play it on turn 4. If I don't draw a second mountain for the Uprising. Alright, change of plans. I think I just want to get the looter construct thing going, because that's going to be a tremendous amount of advantage as the game progresses. It's obviously a much slower clock, because instead of putting 3 power worth of attackers in play, I put a 1/1 that I'm not going to attack with into play. So here I've got an option. I can play the Stensia Uprising, which seems pretty strong, or I can play the Pyromancer. But if I play the Pyromancer, I'm kind of letting my opponent know I'm going to be able to kill a 3 toughness creature next turn, so they might not play one. But the sequencing is a little bit awkward, because I have to play the Pyromancer before I use the looter, so I might not be able to loot away something I can cast. I think it's still worth it just to play the Uprising, though. Save the surprise factor with this one. Hey, they have Mascot Exhibition too. So, I'm going to have to play this first. And then if I hit a land here, it all works out. If I don't hit a land, it doesn't work out as easily. I think I can play this as a land, can I? Yeah. The pick of the looter's really paying off. I'm going to play a 3-mana card this turn and leave up Divide by 0. That seems good. They might, they might play a card that's too expensive. This is the nerfed version of Divide by 0, so I might not get the learn effect, but I'm so far ahead and I have such good card advantage, it doesn't really matter. Like if they play a 6-drop and I just Divide by 0 it, I think that's fine. The Voracious Typhon. Well, I guess I get to divide it and get the card, which I believe will be Mascot Exhibition. I'll choose red. Wow. Getting to Spikefield Hazard a Gutter Ball. This is great. Nah, drawing a land wasn't great. Maybe I was too greedy in Spikefield Hazarding the Gutter Ball. I was so excited I was getting to exile it. But then I needed the land. This is Unearth. Okay. I guess they can unearth this thing next turn. It'd be pretty good for them. This is perhaps actually looking a little bit grim already. They have some enchantments to go with this. It could get out of hand quickly. One of the problems with doing that is that I think they can just unearth this thing from their graveyard. But they can do that at almost any point, so it's always going to be bad for me. Might as well force them to do it sooner rather than later. Maybe they just have a lot of lands. Going to do this to slow them down. Next turn, I should be able to kill it with Welding Sparks. These are treasures. I personally have a very hard time distinguishing between the different tokens that are being made, and it doesn't really help that they all have different appearance. Like, they all have different visualizations. It just makes it even more confusing for me. Oh no. That is not good for me. I don't care so much about sacking the 1/1s, but the fact that they're just going to start getting back the Archon is not good. So 3, 4, 5. I have 9. I'll go to 10. I think we just need to get back Welding Sparks and hope to kill the Witch of the Moors next turn. Although, what's the plan about Archon? I may have to sack the Stensia Uprising. I'm running out of life and I have not dealt very much damage this game. Sir Conrad the Grimy. Dead, right? I guess I gotta try to just attack with everything and then maybe I trick them somehow. Or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Problem is that even if I kill both of these, this thing's still going to kill me, so I need to play Furious this turn. If I'm really lucky, they block in some way where I get to use Furious to just wipe their board. That isn't it. No need to play this turn. I'll be able to play it on turn 4. And if they play something I want to abrade, this way I can do it. That's a pretty good target to abrade. I don't know what this card does. So it's a looter, or you can return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. I'd rather sit on Divide by Zero rather than play a Gadrak that isn't all that close to being able to attack. I mean, I have 2 artifacts in play, so it's not that far off. Whenever you discard 1 or more... So it's a combo with this thing. They're just all discard themed deck. Never seen someone draft this deck before in this cube. I have no idea if it's good. Seems like it probably wouldn't be good to me, just because it seems like there's a lot of moving parts that have to come together, but maybe it's good. I don't think it's going to beat Double Vision, though. More of the discard theme stuff. Stickers on cycling and discard. Blood Curdle. Sacrifice an artifact. So I can sack myself, can I? No, all their stuff triggers. Just block the sniper. I don't think so. I think they wouldn't be offering that trade if they had a way to make something. If they had a way to discard. And I really wanted the ability to make the treasures here. Upkeep, I'm going to kill the sniper now. Have to wait till their upkeep so the double vision will trigger again. Also, this triggers on dies, not on being exiled, so it wouldn't have, the Spikefield Hazard killing the sniper wouldn't have actually given me a treasure from Gadrak. What an armada I've made. My experience with this card is it's usually worth casting if you can do it on turn 2. The real question is, should play this as a land? I think I should. I wanted to play it as a land just because my deck has a lot. Or my deck is a decent amount of 4 and 5 mana plays that I'm going to want to play on curve. And I wasn't going to have the option of playing it on turn 2 or turn 3 because I already knew I was going to be tapping out those turns. It hasn't worked out very well because I drew 2 lands. How does this thing work? Do you think my opponent's afraid of this octopus that's starting to get ready to pop out? Contract killing on the Stormkiln artist. You don't see that every day. You really don't. This is instants and sorceries only. I'm trying to get to empty-handed, so this just becomes a draw 2. That's why I played that land rather than saving it to discard. This way, if I draw a land for the turn, I can just play it. Sir Conrad the Grimy, making another appearance. Sir Conrad the Grimy did kill me the last match he showed up in. Sort of. Life to Shiro Umezawa. Nice. Wait, why are they playing it to gain life? So I currently have 12 permanents. Go to exactly 13, dealing them 7. Deal them 3, 6. I think they're dead. You can hit players with this, right? Yeah. I killed them too fast for the octopus to show up from Ominous Seas. My hand curves out very well. Sadly, my cards don't really synergize with each other hardly at all. I can use Bray's Apprentice to sack the Containment Construct if I grow tired of it. Using Bray's Apprentice to sack the treasures from the Stormkiln Artist is kind of cool. Wasn't thinking about that when I drafted my deck, but it seems like a good synergy. Wow, this is not good for me. Guess I just need to save it. This is one of those cards that's just, it seems like a big power level outlier in this cube. People just play it on turn 3. It kind of dooms you. I have Silent Departure in my deck that could get it off the board. I guess in theory I could double block it this turn. They do have the Necrotic Fumes though, so that's probably not going to happen. it's better to give myself a new card, or I could just pump this and threaten to double block, because this will be 3 power, 6. I think I'd rather just make it so they don't want to attack with the Adeline this turn. And not the return of the Grimy. The Grimy, I can't get away from him. Okay. Need a card that can kill the Grimy now. They can't attack, but I think they can just sack things. To kill me practically at this point.
Everything will be fine if we stand together. Our true strength lies in our friendships.
I think they could have attacked because of Sparring Regimen, right? They could have made the Bloodseeker a 2-4. I don't think I would have had a very good block. I think any of these things help me enough. I think I should just discard this.
I don't want to hurt you.
Ow.
We thrive when we support one another.
own welding sparks. No. A little bit on the slow side, but I can work with this. Hopefully we don't have a turn 3 Adeline again. Still on pace for a turn 3 Adeline. I'm not excited. I'm not excited about the turn 3 Adeline. I don't think they have it. I think I'm going to just chain cards that are going to make my opponent really afraid I might actually cast an instant or sorcery at some point. Because I think I'm going to go Stormkiln Artist into double vision before I play any instants or sorceries. Rely on Gadrak being a 5/4 flying wall. Oh, this card's in M21. Means it might still be legal in standard. I don't know what this attack is all about, but let's find out. They wanted a treasure token. Okay. Get ready, opponent. I'm building up to something fearsome. Not quite there yet, but soon I will be ready. No, rude. Really rude. Didn't enjoy that at all. So we're going to exile this. Doesn't really do anything to do it right now, though. Because the Gadrak does not synergize with the Spike Field Hazard. You're trying to put my Pyromancer in a hole. I will do this now, then. City's Blessing to take another turn. I would like my... I'm regretting that Spikefield Hazard now. It's not very appealing to attack my Gadrak into their Gadrak, sadly, because there's a Mimic. Well, that's a good card. Question is, should I trade the Dowser with, like, the Rambunctious Mutt? That seems kind of weak. Kind of concerned about what they might have in their hand, but it doesn't seem like it's anything all that scary. There really aren't very many sweepers in this format. They could maybe have Undo Inversion, but if they undo it Inversion, at least I would get my Young Pyromancer back, and they would lose a bunch of these other more annoying permanents. Now I wish I had traded with the Rambunctious Mutt when I had the chance. Their Gadrak get a ton of treasures for them. I think next turn I might finally be able to attack. Can this destroy artifacts or just enchantments? It can destroy artifacts as well. So I don't really want to bounce that to their hand. Wouldn't be that sad if my Stensia Uprising died. I don't really want the Brea's Apprentice to die, though. This game would have been so much easier if Double Vision had stayed in play. $20 cards left in my deck to their 18. Kind of need to save the Silent Departure to deal with the back half of the disturbed part of the Mirror Hall Mimic. Okay. Let's see why they would want to do that. That thing's a bit of a problem for them. This is draw 2, discard 2, which they haven't done yet, so they probably have some good spells in their hand. Oh no, they're gonna start Nico Erising the Rambunctious Mutt, I think. Or at a minimum, they're gonna kill my Brea's Apprentice here. I'm not gonna like that.
I never miss.
More spells, please. Fewer lands. You're not cooperating very effectively, deck. How bad for me is it if they actually Nico Eris the Mutt once? 6 damage and I lose the Uprising? That doesn't sound like it's that good for me.
Can improve now.
We might be in try to deck them range rather than
I'll
Try the wind range.
I would run if I were you.
How good is that for me? Can replay things that cost 3 or less. So Igneous Inspiration, Spikefield Hazard, Pop Quiz. It's not that good for me. Just make it 7/7. Another Gadrak can attack now. I don't like that. So if I block it, they're just gonna they're gonna replay the Mirror Hall Mimic, probably the Shimmer Dragon, and then I would definitely lose. The deck in them plan doesn't seem like it's very realistic. I'm gonna die too fast.
The entire multiverse is my library.
That would have been good about 1,000,000 turns ago. We have 8 cards left. Glad they're drawing a card, because I'm only killing the Circuit Mender just to force them to draw a card. It's minus 10 to ultimate that thing. Maybe they have something in their deck that's just going to kill me the way they're drawing cards. Now to 4 cards. Meaning that they're going to die in 3 turns faster if they do anything that causes them to draw a card. Like Mordenkainen or casting Farm. Yeah, that's bad for me. I agree. I agree that's bad. It's not all that fast, though. It's like I'll chump it this turn with a Thopter because it's going to be a 6/7 because of Sparring Regimen. And then potentially chump it the next turn. It doesn't really do anything.
And protect the innocent from harm.
I was already planning on just chumping a lot.
Believe in yourself as I believe in you.
Ah, my faithful hound.
Do I have any ways to force them to draw a card? Does this force them to draw a card? 3 damage to each creature without flying. Wow, that would be awful to cast. Let's see what's left in my deck. What can save me? I need a way to force them to draw a card. None of this stuff does that. Divide by 0 would be alright, though. As with Dragon's Rage Channeler to chump for a turn. I don't think Welding Sparks does anything. How many artifacts do they actually have? 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of planeswalkers. Some pretty good ones.
Now you've done it.
Impressive.
Hat's coming off. May your blade strike true.
How do they not have 4 artifacts anymore? What am I missing? They have a lot of dogs.
Defenseless.
Confused what happened. Where did... They just didn't have 4 artifacts for a long time? And I missed it? I guess when I killed the Circuit Mender, I put them below 4 artifacts. Or did they sack a treasure to play the Wandering Emperor? Maybe that's what happened. When am I going to get attacked by these dogs? I've had a Legion's Landing in play for a million years. I'd forgotten about it. But now it's finally here. So block there. Jump. Jump. Block there. Block there. Block there. Jump. Block there. I think it would be better to try to kill this rambunctious mutt. Alright, please don't have anything too bad for me, opponent. That's mildly annoying. It's not really that bad, though.
Rally to me.
We must protect the people.
So they're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 attackers. I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blockers. I can't block the flyer anyway. Well, now I can block the flyer. You need to kill me this turn. I don't think I have any more relevant cards in my deck now that I drew the Dragon's Rage Channeler, which can jump for a turn. Let's take a look. I guess I could loot into Divide by 0 and that would do something. So I'll take that out of my deck. And I'll just pass. And if something's going to happen where I'm actually going to die, I'll loot to see if I can find the Divide by 0. Oh, I also have another Ascensia Uprising counter, so I'm pretty safe on the ground. And I'm somewhat safe in the air. You have to deal 12 damage through one blocker, and they only have one flyer. This has really been a game. Undo inversion. Okay.
I'm never done for good.
I think this may be the opponent saying it's over. I'll draw a card, sure. What a game. What a game. All right. I hope that this game is not as hard as that last one was. That last one was rough. Grim Initiate. So loot. I don't think my deck can really do better than playing Bray's Apprentice this turn. The real question is, do I think I'm going to want to play Ominous Seas? I guess if I could just go Ominous Seas, Spikefield Hazard, the Grim Initiate. Maybe that's better. Pitching a land. If I can get to the 8/8 against a green-red deck quickly, it's certainly going to be good. And probably the Stentius Uprising will stall the game out for a while. Oh no! I killed all my creatures.
Initiate, you are
don't like
not
it.
worthy.
I don't like it at all.
I have lost too much to allow you victory. Press the attack.
I will be chump blocking Targnar with a... What kind of a token is this? Is a human. A red human. Doesn't get trample, right? You just double the power and toughness. Handle that. Gotta keep Samet under control. This game really went bad when I decided to play the Ominous Seas. Should have just discarded it.
We strike now.
So how does Targnar work? Gives everything +1/+0. Alright. No. Just gonna block. I don't think this was very good alpha strike by the opponent at all. I would have taken the 4. Anyway.
it. Forgive me.
And it seems like, as predicted, Stentia Uprising is stalling out the red-green deck on the ground. That thing is large, but it's just going to get chump blocked into oblivion by Stentia Uprising. We'll trade here and take 4. So my looter, my Merfolk looter's dead. Seize the Spoils is gone. I do have Fast Furious, but it's kind of better to play that empty-handed. Whoa, I didn't want to do that. Right. Mistakes were made. Does this make an octopus? It's a kraken. It's not even an octopus. I guess the Kraken's fine too. Unleash the Kraken. Start working on the backup Kraken. A surprise 4/4 has sprung into action. Nice. I'm going to feed the corpse of the Solemn Simulacrum to the ocean to make 1/8 of a Kraken. Okay, it's even more Kraken making. Can I... 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9... So I can pop quiz into Mascot Exhibition, which I will do. They printed a lot of cards that are like this card in the history of Magic. This one is one of the best ones they've ever made, though. I don't think I've had it in my deck at any point in this cube yet, but I think it's a very respectable card. Should I play this on turn 2 for the beatdowns? Probably, given my hand. They're a red-black deck. Red-black deck, probably the game's going to come down to value somewhat, but I think it's... I'll be giving up a lot of damage to not play that on turn 2. Given that I can probably get their first 2 creatures out of the way if I need to. That is not what I wanted to see. I could silent departure my bloodthirsty adversary back to my hand and replay it later to be able to cast some spells. That doesn't sound like something that's really going to happen, but might come up. If I was playing it like actual constructed, I would have played Igneous Inspiration there and just dealt 3 damage to them to use my mana, but cube decks are a little bit less focused, so you can have your hand play out slower.
You're just fuel for the fires of freedom. If you want it, fight for it.
I want to just let all their creatures have menace and perpetuity. Just do the 2 damage here. I think I'm gonna Igneous Inspiration the Angrath this turn. Largely because I have this treasure, so next turn I can just cast the Mascot Exhibition. I guess I wasn't being clear. My other option was to just get rid of the token and then deal 2 to the Angrath. And then it would just be sitting in play. Giving their creatures menace for the rest of the game. So they could have paid here. They didn't. I guess that makes sense. I could obviously cast my Abrade here, but I think I'll just play Mascot Exhibition next turn, and I'll have a creature that can block that. This just gives Death Touch, right? Death Touch and Drain 2. So, this is a perfect job for a 3/2 Spirit token, blocking that thing. Wow, they really want their 6th land that bad. I guess they haven't done anything for most of the game, so maybe their hand is full of expensive cards. Don't have any artifacts, so sadly Taralf cannot be killed by Welding Sparks this turn. Unlike a lot of cubes, this cube does not have hardly any sweepers in it, so it's very rarely worth playing around them. I don't think there are any black sweepers. There certainly isn't like Meat Hook Massacre or Damnation. Alright. Are you dead, opponent? Would need, I guess, 2 removal spells, and they live at 1. You can maybe have that in their hand. So I kind of braid the Reaper's Talisman in response to make a 1/1. I don't think I'm good. I don't think that's worth doing though. So now they can get back up to 4 with the food, and they can play Taralf. Which from their perspective, they would be living if they did that. And they would actually die if they did that. I guess we will braid this. They're actually pretty close to stabilizing now. So they're going to get to 6 life. I guess they do need to take 5 and go to 1, so maybe they're not that close to stabilizing, but if they have, certainly if they have a 1-mana card, like if they had Spikefield Hazard that could kill this, they would be somewhat on track to get back in the game. I'm always happy to see the person who plays Reaper's Talisman lose. I've always thought that card was extremely overrated. Now I have the artifact, so my Welding Sparks is powered up, so I'd be able to kill a 4 toughness creature like this Taralf. Oh man. That ain't good for me. I lose now? Because I ignored the Reaper's Talisman? Eight, 9, 10, 11. They're gonna get to trigger the talisman at least once. This thing is probably the closest black has to a sweeper, which it did sweep my board this game. We're going to get to 3 life. They're killing me pretty fast, too. So I'm not dead next turn, but really close. I guess does this thing increase the power of things? Yeah. I am dead if they get to live and then they put this on the Archfiend and hit me. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Now I need to draw permanent to kill them. Or if I draw a spell, I need it to be a spell that I can pair with Welding Sparks to kill that. Close. Alright, this gives me blue mana, so this is a perfectly normal hand. I'm going to lead on the looter instead of the Ominous Seas, certainly. Unless they play some like ping effect this turn. So they get one card in their hand, two in the graveyard. You can maybe make some inference about what's in their hand based on what they put in the graveyard. Not really with two lands. Yeah, I think I'll start on the looter. I'm almost definitely going to play Ominous Seas next turn. Honestly, maybe even discarding a Braid. I'll have to see what I draw. Against a red-black deck, I kind of want to get Double Vision in play, because they're not going to be able to get it off the board, probably. And if we play a long, grindy game, it'll just be extremely powerful. And Fast Furious, I want to speed up the Ominous Seas. A Braid's looking pretty good, though, against the Bag of Holding. Because they're kind of setting up their late game value engine now. Let's see if I draw a land. If I draw a land, I'll definitely discard a land. Do not want to discard Seize the Spoils. I could probably... Given that I have Fast Furious and Seize the Spoils in my hand, I think I can afford to just discard a land. Pulling up the Bag of Holding is not that important quite yet, but it could become important as the game goes on. Yeah. Speaking of Ominous Seas, I'm currently locked in a battle with my niece to come up with what is the best shipwreck song of all time. So if you have any good suggestions for me, please post them in the comments. Best shipwreck song of all time. Currently, my front runner is The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Pitiless Plunderer. Am I greedy enough to discard my land here? I think no. I think I'm going to discard Igneous Inspiration. The Dockside Chef. And the Blood Aspirant. And the Talisman. Everyone has the Talisman. All talismans all the time. I think things are going to start getting really ugly for my opponent. A braid is a modal spell, so when it gets copied with double vision, I have to choose the same mode again. Can't believe they could destroy an enchantment. Ugh. I was gonna have so much fun. Sadly, not anymore, though. Sure. I think I actually have to kill the talisman, sadly. Don't like it. I don't like it at all. But I'm willing to do it for the greater good. I'm ready to unleash the Krakens. I still can't believe my double vision got hit by Feed the Swarm. My hand would have been, like, my deck would have played out so much better with double vision in play. It's not fair that twice now double vision has gotten destroyed. It's really not fair. You may have a removal spell too. This sack It can sack artifacts, so they can sack the Poet's Quill if they want to fizzle this. It's fine with me. This I don't think can sack artifacts. This can only sack creatures and enchantments. This Kraken hits pretty hard. I don't think my opponent can ignore it for another turn. Also, can we just go back to the fact that they had to feed the Swarm immediately when I played Double Vision? If you're wondering if I'm bitter about that, I am. I didn't like it at all. It was the worst thing that's happened to me so far today, and that's saying something. Maybe the worst thing was when the Rambunctious Mutt destroyed my Double Vision. All my bad experiences have been with Double Vision, though. Yikes. They're gonna sack it to deal damage to me. This cannot ping me. This can only ping creatures. Sure. Oh, I missed a point because I'm gonna play this Abrade this turn anyway. That was bad. Forgot about the prowess. Seems like a pretty good one to have on top. So now I have, because I can play Silent Departure and potentially flash it back and use the Hall of Oracles, that gives me 10 damage even if they kill the Kraken. That assumes they have 2 creatures in play. So it's only 9 damage if they only have 1 creature in play. They have the Witch of Moors. I don't think they have a way to trigger it though, right? This doesn't gain them life. That does gain them life. Okay. They're still... Are they dead? They're not dead. So they can get up to effectively 6 life with the Anvil and force me to sack a Kraken. By going Perilous Mirror, Witch of the Moors, but then I can go Mascot Exhibition, use the Hall of Oracles on the Channeler to deal 6. I don't think they don't have lethal this turn, right? They can deal 4 to me if they just sack the Perilous Mirror. One from the Anvil, 2 from the Mirror, 1 from the Warlock class trigger. But assuming they don't have a way to deal with a giant flying creature, they're doomed. Alright. My first pick finally gets there. Wins a game for me. So that was a pretty long run through of Cube. I played the maximum number of possible games. I had one incredibly long game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said at the start, I've been having a lot of fun with this. Let's see, what did I win? Lena, Selfless Champion, Nylea's Intervention, Jiang Yang Yu. An unusual assortment of cards. That's it for this video. Hope you had fun, and I'll catch you next time.